Hello, love. My name is Gina Lee, and welcome to the Go Go Gina podcast. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. On today's episode, we're going to talk about living with your guard up after trauma. So, last year, I went through some pretty traumatic shit, and over this past week, I actually spoke. Sorry, I'm fixing the volume on my microphone. It's too loud. I literally can't even hear myself fucking think. But I spoke with my therapist and I realized that I've been living with my guard up a lot and it's really affected my relationship that I'm in and my friendships and just kind of how I treat the people around me. And I didn't even realize that I was doing it. And over the past year or so, the kind of trauma that I experienced and also people around me went through with me because they were also like a part of it. I'll explain what it is in just a second. I know I'm probably being a little bit confusing. Um, I have never experienced before or had to go through something like that before. So I didn't know how to process it and I kind of just shut off instead of actually trying to process this trauma. Therefore, I have been in a constant state of anxiety. And even though this trauma has somewhat passed or has gotten significantly better, the situation that was happening, I am in this constant state of I can't let my guard down because I don't want to get hurt, but also I don't want to be a burden to other people. So I've had this kind of shield up since then. I guess I'll go ahead and explain the kind of trauma thing that I'm talking about here that I went through. Um, my little sister, if you're watching this, Ava, you, I'm sure, will totally resonate with this, even if you did not realize that you have probably been doing the same thing. So let's get into this shit. Last year, and I'm gonna be specific, but not so specific that I expose too much information of the person I'm referring to here. But I had a family member, well, maybe I should just okay. My mother got very, very sick last year, and nobody was able to tell us what was wrong with her. So she was experiencing a lot of different symptoms, and we were in a constant state of thinking that she was going to pass away, unfortunately. So this was a consistent thing where she was just getting worse and worse constantly. And at the beginning of the year, she seemed, you know, a little bit different. She wasn't quite her normal self, but then again, nobody in my family is quite normal. I know I sure as hell am not. But she started to get really ill and just was having all these symptoms. I don't really feel comfortable talking as of right now exactly what was going on because I don't want to make either of my parents uncomfortable and share too much information on what they had to experience because I don't know that they would be comfortable with that. So we're going to skip exposing too much there. I know I'm all over the place today, guys. It's because I usually write out a podcast plan, but today I decided not to because I just wanted to share this little tidbit in my life and I thought it might help some of y'all out as well if you're going through something similar. But I'm rambling and all over the place. But she started getting really sick. And this kind of started happening at the beginning of last year. So she went to the hospital and had this kind of isolated incident somewhat that sent her to the hospital, and it was very, very severe, and none of the doctors could tell us what was wrong with her. There was a lot of psychological symptoms, also coupled with a lot of very severe physical symptoms. So it was just this roller coaster of her going to the hospital, them sending her home, telling her nothing is wrong, and then her going to the hospital again and doing this same kind of cycle over and over again. And this was the full course of last year, and it started out pretty bad, and then she was in and out of hospitals, had long hospital stays at different ones. I fucking hate Mission Hospital. I know HCA owns it now, or it was bought out by HCA, and I literally would hit you guys with a fucking baseball bat if I had the option. I don't even care if I get demonetized for talking shit here, but I just wanted to be so fucking real with you guys. Can't stand Mission. Fuck you guys. I know a lot of people work there, and some of the people who work there may watch this. I don't hate you guys, but I hate the company you work for with a fucking passion. They're the worst. Anyways, they would see her, send her out. She would be back in sometimes even fucking 2 days later. And she was in this constant state of thinking that she was going to die. Um, and during this time period, my mother and I talked a lot about my kind of childhood, and we did not have the best relationship whenever I was growing up for multiple reasons. And if you were my mother and you were listening to this, we have talked about that a little bit. But there was a lot of stuff that went into the reasons why we didn't have the best relationship. It was like a full kind of family dynamic issue, not just my mother, just like my family in general caused us to have a very rocky relationship. But that being said, we would talk about my childhood some, and I would cry to her and tell her, like, I just really I want you to get better so I can hang out with you again and experience life as an adult with you, because I didn't have like the best childhood, and I feel like I was really rushed to grow up and did not get to experience like the childhood that maybe some or a lot of people get to have and they get to be children. I feel like I didn't get a lot of that. And it was really depressing to kind of dive into that with her whenever we constantly thought she was going to pass away. And it would get to the point last year, or got to the point last year, where every few days she was telling me that she thought she was going to unfortunately pass away. So during that time period, I at first didn't try to put my guard up. At first, I just was researching everything that I could, all these different kind of disorders, anything I could do to try and figure out what was wrong with my mother, because mission sucks dick and they did not help whatsoever. And they just put her on medications that made her 10 times worse. Yes, girl, I went to mission and they literally sent me away and they were like, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not about to have a heart attack. You're just being a pussy. And then I looked at my fucking blood work, bitch, and I was like, some of my levels were off, and there was a possibility that I was either having a small heart attack or was on the fast track to having one. So, yeah, if I don't know, not that the CEO or whatever the fuck of Mission would ever be watching this, HCA, fuck you guys. But if you are, fuck you guys. I'm sorry I'm so all over the place, guys. Like I said, usually plan out my podcast a little bit. Nothing planned. Literally not a damn thing is planned today. I am just going for it. So it's going to be a little bit chaotic, but I'm a little bit chaotic too, so I guess you guys are getting to see a little bit more of who the fuck I really am. I'm not quite posh and just super put together. I'm actually quite the opposite all the time. I'm a scatterbrained little gal. Oh my god, what was I saying? Um, Yeah, so we were constantly thinking that she was going to pass away. So at first, like I was saying, I was researching things and trying to figure out, let me set up. What am I doing? And trying to figure out what I could to see, going through her symptoms with her, seeing if there was any family history of anything so that I could figure out what the hell was going on with my mother. And I even advocated for her in the hospital and talked to the doctors, and I was like, "Hey, don't know if you know about all this, blah 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 blah, and like this was showed up on a scan. I don't think you guys are paying attention to these different things." And I worked really really hard to try and figure out what was going on. Unfortunately, though, I mean, did I help a little bit? Yeah, I think so. I helped the doctors, a little bit in, looking for new options or alternatives, or maybe looking at new ideas for what the fuck could actually be happening. But a lot of my efforts were unfortunately in vain. So I I started to notice that after months of going through this with my mother, that I was kind of putting a guard up in order to go about my day-to-day life. So I was a lot less emotionally available. So when I would talk to my friends or my family, I was not really like there. I was very disconnected from myself and the world around me. And I felt like I had to kind of do that in order just to survive day by day, because it was absolutely tumultuous. Tumultuous? I don't know if I fucking said that right. Does it really matter, girl? Um, the whole situation was, and I couldn't function, like, taking everything in and I don't know how to say that. I couldn't function taking everything in and accepting it emotionally, but then also processing it and really feeling it. And like, had I not been so busy, I probably could have done that. But like, dude, I was working 6 days a week for the majority of this. And yeah, I couldn't take it all in and still function properly and go about my day-to-day life without, doing stuff for a customer at work and then breaking down crying in the middle of it. So I kinda had to shut off a little bit, and my partner even noticed that. He was like, "Hey, I noticed that you're really, like, distant and have kinda just, like, stepped back." And during that time, I was like, "Look, I totally understand what you're saying," and I would try to get back out of it and get back in touch with myself and be the Gina that I am, who is, like, super, emotional and emotionally there. Even when I'm not, like, and I'm really depressed, I'm still very, like, emotionally heightened. And because of all the trauma, I had cut that off, and my personal relationships, friendships, family relationships, all of that was really, really suffering. So after that had been brought up to me, I would kind of try to get back into myself and see what I could do to be the person that I have always been or have been. I've been more in touch with myself and the person I want to be over the past, like, say, four, maybe 3 or 4 years. And because of the amount of trauma that I was experiencing and the stress that I was under, I had taken a step back and disassociated. And I was actually talking to my therapist about this the other day, and she was telling me that whenever your body can't, like, process something or the stress is too much to bear, you just, like, disassociate from yourself and you have to take a step back away from yourself just to keep going. And I probably totally butchered that. I definitely butchered kind of the way she said that, but it's just kind of like a coping mechanism for whenever you're really, really stressed, right? So over the course of last year, it just got worse and worse to the point where at first I noticed myself, like, stepping back a little bit. And I don't know if I did it intentionally at first, but over the course of last year, say, like, this really started to get bad probably right after my birthday, because my birthday's in April. I actually just turned 23 last Saturday. Today is the 27th. I think I got the time. No, it's the 27th. Yeah, I turned 23 last Saturday. But not that that actually mattered. What the fuck was I saying? Scatterbrain. This is also a lot to think about, like, the timeline, just because I really did disassociate through most of it. It's like checking back in and thinking over this. I have done everything in my power to not think about this shit. I don't know if I'm allowed to vape on YouTube, but this shit's stressful as fuck. So I'm gonna do it anyways. And if it gets demonetized for that, I'm sorry, guys. It's just a vape. It's just nicotine. I literally just told you I'm 23. I think I drank in my second YouTube video. So I think they're gonna get over it about me vaping. But she started to get really bad, like, right after my birthday and through the summer, and then it just got worse and worse and worse up into the fall season. And by that point, she was really, really struggling. She didn't have any hope in getting a cure, ever even finding out what the fuck was going on with her or what was, wrong. And she'd pretty much, like, given up on that. So I I was struggling a lot with this because I can't really expose too much here. I would love to, like, write a book about all this, but because I think my mother would not be happy about me, debriefing everything. And I'm not really talking about debriefing stuff about her. I'm talking about debriefing my emotions. I don't think she would feel comfortable, like, knowing everything that I was going through with that, because it's not like her fault that she had to go through this and it brought up a bunch of trauma from when I was younger. It's not her fault whatsoever. So, fuck, what am I even going on about? She was not doing well, and I was really fucked up about it, partially because I didn't feel like I got to ever be close to my mother. And over the past like couple years, I was starting to get closer to her. And then it was like I was going to have all of that shit ripped away from me so fast. So I was basically like grieving my childhood and also my mother at the same time because we didn't think she was going to make it. And I was grieving all of that at the same time. And at first, when I started to kind of put my guard up and disconnect from myself and other people, I wasn't necessarily doing it intentionally, but then it got so bad to the point where I would come home every day and I was just fucking crying my eyes out. Like, as soon as my head hit the pillow after work, I would just sit there and sob for like hours and hours and hours. I would wake up and my eyes were shut from just crying so fucking much over everything that was going on. And I also got to see how devastating it was to my family and like my sister actually still, um well, I'm not gonna share that, but my sister would see them a lot more than I did. I mean, I saw them all the time, but she was consistently there. So because of that, I got to see how much that affected her and the fact that she didn't feel comfortable sharing kind of what she was going through with other people because nobody would fucking understand what we were talking about. And I'm not saying that nobody understands having a parent who is very ill or may pass away soon. It's just that, like, because we had no idea what was happening, no cure, the cure was one thing, a diagnosis was another. Because I've always been one, or especially over the past few years, to research how the fuck do we fix this? What can we do? So we got a diagnosis. What do we do about it? I know all these different names of all these different medications and their purposes and how they affect your brain because of partially this, but also before that, I had that kind of thing about me where I was always like, okay, but what the fuck fixes this? And does it have to be medication? Is there something else we can do? And I was just grieving all of that and like actively going through this with my family and having to relive a lot of the trauma from my childhood because of course none of that ever got solved, and then having to go through this, it just like all just fucking smacked me upside the head. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so much." It really fucking was. And I just I got to the point where I was crying all the time, just bawling my fucking eyes out every single night. I was like a shell of the person that I once was. I stopped doing art. I The only thing I really was doing was exercising and eating properly because that was the only like way I could get just a fucking quarter ounce of endorphins into my body. I couldn't get endorphins any other way. Nothing made me happy. Nothing made me happy. I've been on psychiatric meds for a long time and they just did not feel like they were fucking doing anything at this point because of the mental state I was in and the amount of stress and the weight of the depression, anxiety I was constantly under with all of this happening. And I'm also I'm a lot closer to my mom than I used to be. I'm pretty darn close to my dad, and I have never seen him go through anything like that or have to experience anything like that. Hell, I don't know many people who have. And I also feel like I was actually talking to my partner about this the other day, but this kind of trauma of watching a parent basically like disintegrate in front of you within the course of less than a year, like 8 months, go from one person to like a shell of who they once were that quickly is, first of all, an incredibly fucking rapid pace to see that happen at. But also, it was really intense because I feel like a lot of people don't. What is my cat doing, bro? Pickles, what are you doing? You can't eat computer cords. Come up here. Come up here. You clearly want to come hang out. Good boy. Come on. Um, a lot of people don't experience like losing their parents or watching their parents get really ill or go through that kind of stuff until they're much older. And I'm not saying that there's not people out there who do that, but the vast majority of people don't experience that until, say, 10 years from the age that I'm at currently. That's just not a common thing. And it was all kind of speed ran. And I didn't, oh my fucking God, you can't touch the computer, you cornball. Oh my God, he's so silly. And all of the emotions and everything like that. I'm not saying anyone is ever prepared to handle that, but I just felt like I really got to go through it alone because I didn't know other people who were going through this, you know? And some people, you know, their parents pass away from something like, I hate to fucking say this, something like cancer or something that has no cure but has a diagnosis. And I'm not saying that mine was any worse than that by any means because I cannot imagine what that is like, but I imagine it to be somewhat similar because of the intensity and watching someone so quickly go from one person to, you know, this person that's unfortunately lost a lot of weight because of their sickness that they're experiencing and how rapidly that decline is. And I think the thing that was the hardest was that there was no diagnosis, of course, but I just feel like it was really difficult to experience something at, you know, 21. I was 21 whenever it first started. I was 22, obviously up until like a week ago. But the intensity of everything and also feeling like I had no one to turn to, I just like I felt like I had to go from kind of putting up a shell, even if it wasn't fully intentional, to I had to put that shell up. I had to put that shell up. I intentionally started to kind of isolate and separate myself from things and people in my life in order to just fucking exist because I didn't feel like I could do that and I was like, "You know what? I something has to fucking give. I cannot keep living my life like this." And after I did that, I stopped I stopped crying entirely. Not only did I stop crying, but I obviously stopped feeling things, you know, emotionally and somewhat physically. Everything. I just felt like I was like a shell, just like floating, like going through the motions. I don't even know if that's severe enough to describe what the fuck I felt like I was experiencing. Hold on. But it it was really really difficult. And after I did put up the shell kind of intentionally, it really negatively impacted my friendships in my life. I had a friend that I am no longer friends with, and you know, I'm not talked about this yet because I didn't feel comfortable talking about this, but the realization with my therapist the other day, I was like, "You know what? Fuck it." I was like, this is my life and I'm allowed to share my story and I'm sure that she would have a different outlook on the whole thing, but this is my side of it. I feel like because of the amount of trauma and the fact that I couldn't process it and the guard that I had up, I was not able to be there for her in the way she needed me to be. And I'm not going to gossip, even though I totally could. And I found out a lot about this person after this whole situation. If you know me in my personal life, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I'm not going to talk shit about somebody on the internet. I feel like that's stupid as fuck to do. That's stupid. I'm not going to gossip about her or whatever. But I lost this person, and there's a lot more that went into this kind of loss of this person there's a lot more that went to it than I'm willing to share. However, I feel like the amount of trauma and stuff that I was going through, I kind of pulled back from her as well. And I will share this little tidbit. She also got this new partner, and one thing about her is that whenever she has a partner in her life, she really latches onto them. So I felt like I had to share my trauma and my trauma and what I was going through with her partner too, which I was really not comfortable with because I hadn't known them as long as I've known her. And I really did not like that. And I didn't realize all of these realizations didn't come to me until the past week or past couple months until I've been away from this person and like had time to assess the falling out and whatever the fuck happened there. Like I said, she's probably going to have a different opinion on that, but that's totally fine. That's her opinion. And if it's her opinion, you know, whatever, that's valid to her, I guess. It doesn't really fucking matter to me. Just like my opinion probably doesn't matter to her on it. But I had to share my trauma with her partner at the time because they were, hand in hand, whatever. And my partner that I have now is someone that I've been super, super close to for years. So he's watched me go through so many things and watched me go through this trauma. And I was comfortable sharing that with him, but I wasn't really comfortable sharing that with her partner. And partially because of that, and partially because I am so close to my partner, I pulled back from her. But mainly, I think I pulled back from her because she wanted to always be with her partner, and I was not comfortable sharing my trauma with him to that capacity because he hadn't been through anything like that. As far as my knowledge goes, she had been through something very, very slightly similar. And I do feel for her in that aspect. But all that is to say that I lost my best friend last year. And it was a really messy kind of falling out. And the falling out was kind of absolute bullshit. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It was kind of really stupid. I'm gonna hit my vape now because I'm getting stressed. But I lost my best friend towards the end of last year, and she actually cut me off for some situation which was actual. I'm sorry if you're listening to this for some reason, if you're like on my page, it was complete bullshit. It was complete bullshit because I mean, was I kind to her whenever we were having our falling out? Absolutely the fuck not. But was she totally irrational about the situation? Absolutely yes. I will go ahead and say that. And, if anyone wants to contact me or talk to me about that, I'm totally happy to chat about that. I do not care. We can chat it up as far as that goes. But I lost my best friend at the end of last year. She cut me off, and I partially feel like her partner had a lot to do with that too, because he was there to validate different things and never wanted to go against her opinion. He always just wanted to be there to validate her out of, I guess, fear of losing her. He was just kind of like a little bit of a people pleaser in that aspect. And that does come from like a lot of stuff in people's childhood, why people are people pleasers. So I don't want, if either of you guys are watching this, I don't know how you would be, but if for some reason either of you guys are watching this, I don't want you to think that I like am dissing you about this. I'm just sharing my experience and kind of the way I assess things. Could I be totally wrong? Absolutely. Do I think I am? As of right now, no. Could that change? Of course. I do think he definitely had a big part of it. Because the situation that caused the fallout was bullshit, especially considering the shit I was going through with my mom at the time, and she did witness that. Now it feels like I'm talking shit, but I am a little sour about the whole thing because I thought I was going to lose my mom. My best friend cut me off because I wasn't seeing her as much as I was previously. During this falling out with, or not falling out, I wasn't seeing her as much as I was previously during this kind of during this situation with my mom and the trauma that I was experiencing with going through things with my mom and watching her get really, really ill. I wasn't seeing her as much, and I was pretty reclusive. And, I did have a really hard time with that. And I still wholeheartedly wish that she would have been there for me because I feel like it added another level of trauma that I now am just so terrified because I was like losing my mom at this time that I'm so terrified of losing everybody in my life, whether that is to death or to people just deciding that they don't like me anymore, whatever the fuck. I now have this perspective on life that I've never had up until this point. And I've had people leave my life, right? It's not not uncommon for people to lose other people or to experience things in friendships or relationships where both people part ways. I actually made a podcast episode about that, and I think it's a beautiful fucking thing. But because of the sequencing or the sequence of events of last year, now I'm just absolutely fucking terrified of everybody leaving me, whatever that may be. I don't know if it's like necessarily abandonment issues because I'm not going to like latch onto you, but I've always actually, oh my God, I feel like I'm giving myself fucking therapy right now. So I hope you guys are enjoying this if anybody's fucking watching this. But I I've always honestly, like, because of the trauma and stuff I went through and some of the stuff I went through with my parents when I was younger, I've always had like an avoidant attachment style. And I feel like because of what has happened over the past year, my avoidant attachment style has gotten so much fucking worse. Like, it was bad before, but now, Jesus Christopher, I literally, like, even with my partner or my friends or whatever, I just can't connect to people the way I used to. I just like want to like pull away and separate. I'm like, nope, we can't do this because I might lose you, and that's okay. That's okay if I lose you, but I don't want to get too close because it's going to really fucking hurt if I do. And then I have to deal with this level of trauma and I just go through the same fucking bullshit cycle again. It's just not something I want to experience. Anyways, the main point of this podcast was to talk about living with your guard up after trauma. But as of right now, I've just been yapping about all the shit that I went through last year, which I think gives you a pretty good context of the next portion. But who knows? Maybe I want to yap a little fucking more about this shit because it feels really fucking good to finally talk about it. But I went through all that with my mother and I lost my best friend. And I really don't have I really don't have close friends at all anymore, if I'm being really honest with you guys right now, because partially of that avoidant attachment style. Like, I don't want to hang out with people, get too close with them, and then they leave. But also, I don't feel like I can get close to people anyways because of this thing in the back of my mind. It's not something I have been doing intentionally where I'm not hanging out with people or not trying to make new friends, but I don't really have the desire for it as much anymore. And I think a lot of that has to do with what I went through last year, where because of the stuff I was going through with my mom and watching her get really sick, I started to really changed my perspective on how I view just like literally fucking everything in my life. Everything in my life, I view it totally different than how I used to. I used to be super outgoing and I always wanted to make new friends and hang out with people and have these big groups of people. And I know part of that comes with getting older where you're not as attracted to that and as you were before, or maybe that's just my experience, but I've noticed that a lot with my friends and people as they grow older, they kind of have that perspective change, and the want for a big group of friends definitely kind of leaves a little bit, and they don't have the desire for that nearly as much. I'm gonna sit back up. I'm literally like sliding, partially because of this cat, because he's sitting on my lap now. I love him. He's so sweet. My little cat picklehead. Pickles. Pickles. He's so handsome. He's such a beautiful boy. He's licking his toe beans right now. Anyways, so I guess I should explain kind of the come up after last year. Okay. So fast forward a little bit. Oh God, this is fucking heartbreaking for me to talk about. I didn't actually think I was going to film this podcast, but here we are. After last year, I like I was saying, was really living with my guard up, and it was somewhat intentional because I just couldn't fucking bear everything that was going on, and it was way too intense, and I couldn't function without putting up this incredibly thick shield around me that nobody could fucking get through. Nobody could get through. I was the only one that was going to be there for me, and I truthfully believed that, and I would not let anybody in. There was no fucking way anybody was going to get in and be able to reach me. So fast forward to this year, and a lot of the things I'm going to talk about right now are good things that happened, really good changes in my life. However, there's some pretty decent downsides that I did not realize until I talked to my therapist this past week when I was absolutely exhausted and just like burnt the fuck out, honestly. Um one of the things that happened is my mother started to get better, like, significantly. She wasn't able to do, like, literally anything before, like, she wasn't able to walk or take care of herself, feed herself, and just perform basic tasks by herself. And she couldn't at all. She was like completely bedridden. And then over the past like I don't know, basically since the beginning of the year, maybe the end of last year, I think, probably the beginning. Well, maybe the end. I don't know. Anyways, over the past like few months or so, maybe the past 4, but she has started to get significantly better. Like it almost feels like a fucking miracle, and I haven't wanted to talk about it because first of all, it's so fucking fresh and so new, and I'm scared that I'm going to jinx it. But she's up and walking around again. She's going to the grocery store, and she is going to try to drive again, and I'm literally so fucking proud of her. Like, so fucking proud of her because I can't imagine going through something like that with your health and having to go through that because it wasn't just like psychological or physical. It was everything and everything fucking in between, and no one was able to help her, and nobody could be there for her in the way that she needed because nobody had experienced anything like that. I'm not saying there's nobody who's ever experienced anything like what she went through. I'm not saying that at all. But around her and in our near area or online, nobody was sharing experiences like that at all. And if they did, they had a diagnosis for it, and she didn't fucking have that. And none of the diagnoses we looked for were accurate to what she was experiencing. We asked them all kinds fucking different kinds of questions, and nobody had no fucking idea. But the point is that she's gotten significantly better, which is absolutely amazing. She's up again. She's able to eat, take care of herself to a decent capacity, and has light back in her eyes, and hope again, or seems to, for the most part anyways. And that is it's so fucking wonderful. It's so fucking wonderful, and I'm so proud of you, Mom, if you're watching this. I love you so fucking much. Here's the thing though. I have Even with her getting so much better, and like I said, I pretty much disconnected from everything anyways. Even with her getting so much better over the past few months, I have not noticed a change in really my own happiness and like how I view things. And I realized the other day that I have still been viewing things and living with my guard up the exact same way that I was whenever things were at their absolute fucking worst. I've still been going about my day to day life and viewing everything the same way, and being disconnected from people and from myself and my friends and my family, and in my own relationship. I've still been doing that to that same capacity. And I did not realize that till the other day when I sat down with my therapist, and I was like, I just feel like shit. And she asked me about my mom, 'cause she always asks me about my mom, my relationship, whatever, how things are going, if I've made any new friends. And I'm always like, absolutely fuck not. No, thank you. I'm good. I work too damn much and I'm too damn tired to have no motherfucking friends. Anyways, I realized the other day while I was talking to her, we just kind of broke this down, and I was like fucking in tears over it. But I don't know why. I still don't like to cry in front of therapists. I'm like, you ain't gonna catch me being pussy. I know you're literally a therapist, and you're not a pussy for crying. I just have this like fucked up mentality when it comes to like crying in front of my therapist, because I'm like, do not console me right now. I don't need consoling. I need fucking advice with evidence and um scientific proof behind how the fuck do I fix this. I want problem solving right here, right now. God. Anyways, I was talking to her about this, and I realized that, and it blew me away. And I think I might have cried about it a little bit later that night. Dude, I've been crying like every fucking day. Every fucking day. Did I cry this morning? I almost did. I almost cried this morning too. I'm such a baby back little bitch. I cry all the fucking time. That actually doesn't make you weak, by the way, guys. I'm just being a dick to myself for whatever fucking reason. I kind of like being a bitch to myself sometimes, really toughens me up, which doesn't sound like I need that right now. Anywho, after realizing this, that I have, by the way, I'm wearing pants. Let's suggest this, but I'm wearing pants, by the way. After realizing that I have still been living with my guard up the same way, after going through this with my mother, I had a moment where I was just, like, about to start bawling my fucking eyes out while I was talking to my therapist because I realized how not myself I've been and how disconnected I've been even when things have gotten so much fucking better. Like, I hate to bring up materialistic things, but, like, y'all, got a different fucking car over, the very end of last year, which I love. I have this um partner that loves me so fucking much and I love him so fucking much, and I just moved into this new apartment, which I'm going to give you guys an apartment tour once I get it a little bit more cleaned up. I'm still kind of in the process of unpacking everything. And finally started this fucking YouTube channel and this podcast, and I've been working on art again and getting back into my hobbies and shit. And it still feels like nothing fucking makes me happy, or that if I'm happy, I'm drunk. Like, I'm being so overly vulnerable with you guys right now, but like I just, like, haven't been able to experience happiness or feel things in the way that I used to, and I've just been so fucking disconnected, even if I don't realize it, and I'm experiencing something that would have brought me a lot of joy before, that I really would have fucking been absolutely thrilled to be there and thrilled to experience it. I'm not there. I'm not there whatsoever. I don't fucking care. I couldn't care fucking less about what I'm doing any fucking time I'm doing anything. I just don't fucking care about it. And I realized this the other day. I was like, "Holy shit. I have been living my life the same way as I did when I thought my mother could die within the next 24 hours. I have been living in that same fucking level of stress and that just the mindset and the constant anxiety, and I have my mind and my body stuck there. It's like someone took a thumbtack and it was like, "We're going to stick right here. And you need to leave your guard up right there and keep it that way forever in case anything happens, in case anything or any level of stress like that ever comes up again, because we can't fucking handle it." And I just like, oh my God, what an absolute mind fuck. The other day, if I'm being so honest with you, this was literally like what, 4 or 5 days ago? I think 4 days ago, actually, because it was on, no, five, because it was on Tuesday and it's Sunday. But this was such like a mind fuck to go through this because I was so surprised to realize that, Gina, you haven't been here. You're doing all these things and achieving these things and trying to, work for yourself for the future and put yourself through all this shit, but you're not there. You're just like right now going through the motions, like absolutely going through the motions and living in this constant state of I have my guard up, I don't trust anybody. And honestly, I am it's made me really fucking irritable. It's made me really irritable because the second I feel like somebody tries to penetrate my guard or get inside my little shell or break down my shield that I have up, I am fucking pissed. Do not ask me how I've been. Do not ask me to go out and go hang out and do something that might be fun because I don't have the fucking mental energy for it. I don't have the mental energy to do any of that. And in return, I don't have the physical fucking energy because I spend it all up here and I just want to lay down and sleep and just cry. Not that well, this week I've been crying a lot, but no, I've still been crying a lot. Let's be fucking real. Over the past month I have, because I think I've been trying to get back in touch with myself emotionally. But I realized that I've been living with my guard up um ever since all this happened, and it's been pretty fucking severe in the way it has impacted me and my perspective and my friends and my family, and like I'm just not the same person that I was before, and that makes me pretty depressed to think about that. Like I and my family as well, of course, and I'm sure my mother will never be the same. My sister, my father, my brother, all these people, they'll never be the same because of this. But we went through this, and oh, God, I hate to fucking say this. We went through this and experienced all this, and my mother's better now, and or well, not completely better, but she's gotten significantly better. But we still I don't know if my little sister is living the same way or my father is. I think he's maybe doing a little bit better. But we're still in that same kind of headspace and living through that same looking through things the same lens as we were during that time. Excuse me. And it almost feels like, for fucking what? Like, why? I'm so grateful in so many ways. I'm so grateful that I, like, was able to be there for my mom in some ways during that, because I feel like it really got us a lot closer, because we didn't used to be very close, like I was saying. And I got to, like, learn a lot more about her and be there for her in ways that I didn't get to do before. And I was really, really blessed that I was able to do that. Oh my God. But one of the things that really fucked me over the other day when I was thinking about this is that now I'm gonna have to rework the way I view things and the way I view people and everything. And I don't want to lose everything from the experience I went through with my mom, but I also cannot live like this for the rest of my life, because I'm like a fucking little robot. Like, I cut up and I laugh. And honestly, most of the time, if I'm cutting up and laughing, I'm fucking drinking. Like, I hate to admit it, guys. I'm not saying I'm an alcoholic, but I do have definitely been going through time periods where I will drink for 3 weeks straight. Like, obviously not at work, I don't do that, but I'll come home and get absolutely plastered, not every day, but multiple times a week. I'll have, at least a glass of wine every day. And then I'm like, holy shit, I'm out of touch with myself again. I gotta take a step back, whatever. And I just keep going back through the cycle. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I did not used to do this to the extent in which I'm doing it now. And I'm trying so hard to numb. And I don't need to numb. And I don't realize that, but I've numbed. Now I'm realizing that I've numbed for so long that that's what feels right. And I know that having to access the part of myself and understand and learn about myself after I went through that level of trauma, because I've been pushing it away and like, fuck that, I'm not going to deal with that right now for so long, it's going to suck. Holy shit, is it going to suck? And I realized that the other day, actually, when I was like on the phone with my therapist, like, oh my God, I have so much fucking work to do. I have so much fucking work to do, because I can't keep living like this. I can't keep living this separated from myself and from the people in my life. This is dog shit. It's fucking terrible. And I don't want to keep doing this way. And as much as it sucked partially to realize that the other day, it was so eye-opening and so wonderful to like realize what the fuck has been going on, because I just keep searching for things in my life. I'm like, is it because I've gained like 3 pounds? Is that why I'm depressed? Is it because I've gained 3 pounds? Because if that's what it is, then I'll just not eat. And then obviously that doesn't fucking fix it, bitch. Is it because I've been drinking more? Because then I'll just stop drinking and then that'll be fine. And then, oh my God, I do that constantly, cycle but back and forth between that shit. And it's none of those fucking things. I'm disconnected. I'm disconnected and I have this crazy fucking shield up that nobody can get through. And I will not allow anybody to connect to me. And as a result, I don't feel like I can connect with myself, because I won't even dig in there and figure out what the fuck is going on. It's so fucking terrifying in there or in here. I want nothing to do with it. So I separate from it. And I damn sure don't let anybody in there. Damn sure. Not even me. I'm not even allowed to step foot inside my own brain and figure out what the fuck is really going on, because it's too much. Whew. Baby, I feel like I just had therapy again. Holy shit. Another thing I realized too, or one of the things that really fucked with me, was that I realized, or I was talking about my friend a minute ago that I lost, my best friend. She cut me off, which, I kind of get why she's doing it, but also I'm not going to say anything else on that, because there's so much more that I could dive into that I am not willing to discuss as of right now, or probably for a very, very long time, if fucking ever. Anyways, I felt like after, things started to get a lot better and my mom started to get a lot better, and that was wonderful. Even then, it felt like I lost my best friend for nothing. But now I just like feel like I went through all of that shit and all of everything for nothing. And I'd rather go through it, of course, for nothing than to lose my mother, because that would have been horribly traumatic. But It just feels like I lost my best friend and she could be fucking here right now and we could be fucking hanging out, cutting up, having some fucking margaritas. But at the same time, we probably couldn't because her boyfriend would have to be here and I'm not giving him a fucking margarita. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you're watching this, buddy, I'm sorry. I just don't think that you helped out a lot of different situations that both she and I were going through at the time. But maybe I would give you a margarita if I could just fucking talk to my friend for 5 minutes by myself and not have to have both of you in the same room because I wanted to be hanging out with her and not having to have him there because I don't know. I'm someone who likes to like really, especially before this past year, I really liked to dive into things with people and like figure and like unravel their brains and figure what the fuck is going on inside of their heads and like really know how the fuck they're doing and really talk to them really deeply. And I obviously couldn't do that whenever her partner was there because maybe she didn't feel comfortable being the way she was around me, around him. I don't fucking know. And I just didn't feel comfortable around like uh, my best fucking friend since I was literally like a little kid. I didn't feel comfortable being the same way around her that I was around him, so I couldn't mesh the two is basically whoops. Not to the extent at which I wanted to. But I just feel like I went through all that and I could have her right here with me right now having a fucking margarita. And like I was saying, part of that's probably due to like different stuff and like, she's got a new partner and all this cool shit, whatever, that's good and all great for her. Um kind of. But I just feel like I went through and my mother too, fuck. I'm sure she kind of is like, why the fuck did that all happen for? Like, why did I go through all this fucking shit for? What was the fucking reason? Like, there's definitely some really good little tidbits I have found in going through that with my mother. And not saying that obviously that was a terrible thing for her that was a terrible thing for her to go through and a terrible thing for all of us to like experience with her. But there's little tidbits and pieces I found and like, I was able to find my way back to my faith a little bit during this time period, which I'm still really fucking rocky on. Holy shit. But I was able to find myself back into that a little bit, not because I wanted to, but because it kept popping up. Like stuff would pop up and I'd be like, oh, dude, I don't want to fucking think about that today, God. Like, I'm just not in the mood, babe. Not in the mood. And then it would happen again and again and again. And it was just this whole fucking whirlwind. But I I just like have been struggling with I went through this for no fucking reason. Like I went through this and for fucking what? And I know my mother probably feels the same way and my little sister and whatever, but we can find the good in different situations, of course, but it just feels so fucking pointless. And I think that level of that feeling pointless has traveled into my personal life. So now I don't want to fucking do anything because everything feels fucking pointless because I'm like, what if that happens to me or to my partner or to my little sister and I'm just gonna lose them and like, oh my God, I know. I know partially that's a silly way to look at it because you want to make as many good memories as you can with someone, but I'm just so scared of having something get ripped away from me like so fast and watching that level of what's the word? Like watching someone I hate to say disintegrate. That's such a weird fucking word. I actually don't have a good word, but maybe that one. Watching someone kind of disintegrate so quickly or like get ill so fast or just like fall apart and lose themselves so quickly. Watching that happen and like having to watch that again with somebody I care about would fucking destroy me. And as a result, my guard is rock solid, baby. It's fucking armor, and you couldn't break it if you wanted to. You could hit me with a hammer, and I might bleed to death, but that guard's still gonna be up. And I wanted to kind of talk about this today and share this with you all, because I feel like this is something that a lot of people experience, and maybe they don't realize that they're doing it or that they are have done it in the past, or maybe they're actively doing it, but that people put their guard up, whether it's intentionally or not intentionally. Like I said, I kind of went through both a little bit. They put their guard up after they go through some kind of really, really intense level of trauma. I mean, you can, of course, go through it with a less intense level of trauma, but I think that guard isn't going to be as thick as if you go through something that's like fucking crazy intense. And then that guard is going to be so fucking thick. You're not going to be able to get through that bitch. And I I'm grateful for the guard that I put up a little bit because think it helped me get through it. But the point is that even if you put your guard up and after that trauma's gone and that guard is still up, it really affects the way that you and I live. Because if we don't let our guards down a little bit and try to become, human again and learn to reintegrate into ourselves and into our lives, into the lives that we live, that we're going to be stuck viewing things from that standpoint of maybe where that pin was dropped when you were going through that incredibly intense level of trauma, that we're going to sit there and live our lives the way we were right then. So say August or whatever the fuck, let's say August was the worst month. I don't think it was, but it might have been. It probably wasn't. Let's say I'm living my life like I'm still in fucking August. And I don't want to live that way anymore. And I didn't realize till the other day that I was doing this shit. I was like, okay, things are significantly better. I was like, but I fucking hate everything still. And of course, I have bipolar disorder, deal with a lot of ups and downs anyways, but I was having no ups. The only ups I would have were just these like intense irritability spells, which my partner could definitely attest to. I'm so sorry. Love you. But we have to figure out a way to, if you're doing this and you realize this, and it could be some kind of trauma you fucking went through years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. If you're still living your life that way with your guard up in the same way, of course, it's important to have your guard up a little bit to protect yourself. But if it's so thick that you can't fucking feel anything anymore, that is an incredibly depressing, and it like deprives you of the joy of existing and living life. And I know, people and myself included are like, we almost, obviously we're comfortable in it, but we almost don't care if we live with the guard up in a certain way, because being tough and being able to go through stuff and walk out like you don't have a fucking, no cuts, no scars, no bruises on you after something like that, after you go through something really intense. It's almost like society gives us a badge of honor for it. And I think that's kind of bullshit, because we should be allowed to experience shit and experience our emotions and not feel like we have to be so fucking strong all the time. And it fucking sucks. Honestly, it fucking sucks to have to live life like that. And if you're going through this, I want you to know that I believe we can get out of it. And this is not like as much of a motivational, or how I try to be motivational or help people out kind of episode. This is not as much like that. This is just like me sharing my realization with you, because if it helps you and you realize, holy shit, I've been doing this for 5 years and I didn't even realize this. I think that the first step to getting out of that and like learning how to reintegrate yourself into your life, I know that sounds weird, but like you can be living your life and not be there. You could be fucking 10 steps behind your body. That's kind of how it almost fucking feels. But I think that realizing it is the first step to figuring out how to unravel that and learn what you need to keep in your life that you learned from that horribly traumatic experience, and what the fuck you can let go of. Because there are going to be things that we should hold on to and things that we should let go of, because they're not serving us anymore. If there's stuff that you learned about yourself, that you love about yourself, and that really helped you during that time and will help you in the future and are actively helping you, keep those things. But if it's something that is just prohibiting you from experiencing joy and experiencing life in the way that you want to, I think we should let those things the fuck go. God, that was long-winded as fuck. Okay. And I'm gonna try to work through this with you guys a little bit because I, like I've said, this is kind of like a little therapy session for me. I hope it's a little therapeutic for you guys. That or I just trauma dumped on y'all bitches, which love y'all. Thank you for listening. But as far as moving forward, I think I need to learn like how to feel again. And I think I need to really try to be more present in my life. So present in what the fuck I'm going through in the conversations that I'm having with people. I want to like the first thing I think I'm going to do is to start being there because I didn't even realize I wasn't there. I want to be there. I want to look people in the eyes again when I speak to them. And not to say that I wouldn't do that before, but when I was staring people in the eyes, it just felt like I was like looking through them. Like I wasn't really perceiving them as being another human being because I wasn't fucking feeling like a human being in the first place. I was just like, must try to stay alive or I will fucking blow my brain. But I want to try to start being more present. And everyone always talks about mindfulness and being mindful and all this other fucking bullshit. And like they got a little bit, there's a little bit of truth to that, I think. You know, a lot of it's fucking bullshit and all these like gurus online. Fucking psychos. Not all of them, but a lot of them are just trying to sell you a fucking course or some herbs that they're charging you fucking triple for, which is all good and fine, but fuck that. I want the point is though, trying to be more present though, and just trying to be there for the people around me and trying to seek out experiences again and seek out life again because I fucking stopped. I was like, okay, my life has to stop here because I can't fucking keep doing this. And also because of the amount of trauma and stuff I was going through, I had no desire to like go out and do something fun because all I could fucking think about was what the fuck I was going through and it was terrible. I didn't even want to fucking do that. That sounded like the worst idea ever to me. And now I want that. I want to try to experience life again and I want to be there and I want to be present in conversations. And I don't know if this will help you at all. I really hope it does cuz I truthfully don't know how the fuck I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to unwind this, you know, ball of fucking yarn that I'm wrapped up into. It's like I'm at the center and I'm like a little bead and like in that bitch. But I want to be more present and I want to try to experience life again because I've just been floating through it and I have all these wonderful things that I can be grateful for and these people in my life that I can be grateful for and all this fucking life ahead of me. And even if something bad happens, the people, girl, I thought that was a spider. I almost shit my pants. Um, I fucking ruined that completely. But all of the life and people around me, you know, I want to be able to experience that. And even if something bad happens, I don't want to have missed out on that because I was so terrified of something bad happening again or going through something bad. And I feel like that honestly, like, oh my God, that honestly circles back around to like whenever I was trigger warning, I'm going to talk about sexual assault for a second. Whenever I was assaulted years ago, I wanted absolutely fucking nothing to do with a man ever again. And now I'm with one and I love him and he's so sweet to me and he really does value me and has never tried to do anything horrible like that to me. But I didn't have any desire to go forward and to look for, you know, a relationship or anything like that because of the trauma that I went through. And eventually I actually just kind of fell in love with him because we were best friends and it was sweet. But I'm not going to tell you the whole story. We're not going to get fucking sappy. Go lick a tree if you want some sap, bitch. I'm not the one. Anyways, I want to move forward and experience things again and seek things out again. I want to just I don't know. I want the shield off a little bit. I'm going to keep some of it on, bitch. We're not just going to fucking rip it off and be naked, okay? We're just going to like an onion. We're going to peel off the layers a little bit. Peel off the layers and Try to go forward and experience life again. Holy shit. Because whenever you've been traumatized, you have no fucking desire. And you might not even realize it. Because a lot of times when I've gone through something really traumatic at first, it's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then after a while, you just become fucking numb and you don't care. You have no desire. You don't give a shit about the world or maybe people, I don't know, all kinds of things. You just don't care about them the way that you did before because of that trauma. Trauma is very isolating. We like to separate ourselves from people and from things that could possibly lead to another trauma like that. And all of that makes sense. And I want to keep the parts of me after going through these experiences that made me value things more. The parts of me that made me value my friends and my family because I realized, oh my God, people could fucking leave at any point. Anything could happen. Somebody could get sick and, unfortunately start decaying really fucking fast. Like all of that shit can happen. And I was never smacked upside the head with that until last year. And I mean, I've had friends leave and family members get kind of passed away, but I've never experienced it to that capacity and with it being accelerated in the way that it was. And I want to go into the future with my eyes open and I want to pay more attention to myself and what the fuck I'm feeling and not feel bad for feeling my fucking emotions and feel bad about listening to them and understanding them and hearing myself with compassion that I would give to somebody else. I want to give myself that same amount of fucking compassion. And I'm saying all this to say that if you resonate with this, I want you to give yourself some fucking compassion too, babe. Because if you're living your life like this, I want you to take everything you can from what I'm speaking about today. And if it resonates with you, fucking great. I think that's fantastic. But I want to open my eyes and seek. I want to live. I want to live. I want to experience and to stop shutting myself away from things because of the sour taste in my mouth that everything from last year left kind of with me. I want to fucking live and experience and have my eyes open and searching the way that I was years ago, because I feel like I really found myself again a few years ago, and then just last year it like ripped that all away from me times a fucking thousand. Like all of it was gone and I just had no desire, and happiness was just not a thing. The only time I was happy was whenever I was drinking. And I don't want to live that way anymore. And I also want to mention that I'm making an effort to cut back on my drinking significantly. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's so fun here. It's so fun here. But I think that's all I've got for you guys today. I really hope you guys enjoyed seeing this incredibly vulnerable side of me because I never share stuff this deep or to this capacity. I've even noticed on my fucking YouTube. Like I took a couple weeks of a break here recently because I was moving into my new apartment, and I went to Nashville for my birthday, which was super cool. So I didn't really have a choice. I had no fucking time to do my podcast or to work on my YouTube channel. And I was just like watching stuff back and I was like, bitch, that is not you. I was like, you have got the shield up here. Probably obviously worse because it's online. And I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live with this fucking shield up anymore. I'm so tired of it. It sucks the life right out of me. And there's not that much in there. There's not that much life to begin with. I want to live an experience, and I want you guys to do the same fucking thing. If this helped you guys, or you guys would like to see more shit like this where I'm just sharing things that I've kind of went through and the stuff I've learned and the stuff I'll hopefully learn in the future, please let me know. But that's all I've got for you guys today. I love you so fucking much. I love you so fucking much. Bye.